Great, thank you very much for that. Yeah, so obviously my name is Rob Meister and I'm representing Althea here today. So if we just jump onto the next slide. Yeah, so Althea, like a few others, does have the vertical integration, and that goes all the way from product research and development, which is obviously critical in this area, to also having processing and manufacturing capabilities, and then also having the market access, which is the sales and marketing, which is a real critical part to how these products are going to get into market and how we educate sort of the doctors and patients on just how to access the medicine and also what the medicine can do for them. We also have a global business, and that's global in two ways. And we also have the reach from the distribution standpoint, and like a few of the other companies here today, we do have our products in many markets at the minute, but we also have diversification in not only being medicinal and medical, we also have a recreational side to our business. So if we just jump into the next slide there. Yeah, so this is a good overview of who we are as a company. And I'll start with the medical side. So we have our own product and under our own brand, which is Althea. So currently, to date, we've have more than 17,000 patients, and we'd be one of the market leaders in the Australian market with around 30 or over 30% of the market share. Been selling since middle of 2018 and really seen some really strong growth from then till now. And obviously have expanded that brand, the Althea brand, as we go. We have kept that brand in all markets that we've moved into. The way that we have been able to sort of achieve the results to date is through the education of doctors, of everyday doctors, and it's your GP and my GP, and that's how we think the best path for cannabis moving forward in Australia and around the world. So how we've been able to do that is we created what is called Althea Concierge, which is a unique online portal where doctors can get the education they need on how to prescribe the products, what products are best for what conditions. It also helps them track patients' pain or quality of life over a period of time, just so that they can see the impact that it's having on their patients. And also, as I mentioned earlier, we do help with the titration because it is difficult. This is a new area for some doctors, and especially with the general GPs, they do find it difficult. And what we're trying to do is simplify how that information is given to them, and it's all in one spot. It also helps with the SASB applications through the portal. So it's a bit of a one-stop shop, and the feedback we get from doctors is it's really helpful to have all that information in one place, and it allows them to just be able to access it easily and efficiently. We also have another portal for doctors to just get general education on cannabis, and that's CBD points for them. But again, we just feel like as an industry, everyone needs to take their part and educate the doctors in how these products are going to help patients, because that's obviously why we're all here. It is the only software as a medical device by a medicinal cannabis company that's licensed by the Office of Drug Control, and that's a really critical thing that we've been able to do. We really feel like it does help, and as I said, the doctors really feel that is a big benefit to them. We do operate clinics in the UK only at this point in time via telehealth, so it's quite a lean model. We really feel that clinics are an amazing way to start a market, because in the early stages, doctors are finding it difficult and they do need that education before they're obviously willing to prescribe. So by having access clinics, and it's called My Access Clinics in the UK, it allows for us to really supercharge that sort of market. They've had 700 patients in treatment, and we do have doctors that cover all the different conditions: chronic pain, anxiety, sleep disorders, etc. So that sort of covers us off as a medical company, and I'll get into sort of the global part of that in a minute. But the other part of our business, which is unique to us as an Australian listed company, is our exposure to recreational cannabis. Currently in Canada at the minute, because that's the biggest recreational market. But this is an area that we're really excited about. About 18 months ago, we acquired a company called Peak Processing Solutions, which is one of the leading and largest recreational cannabis product manufacturers in Canada. And they do a range of products, canned beverages, topicals, edibles, and things like that. And this is a really large growing area in the Canadian recreational space. We do own it 100%, and it was founded by 4 people who left one of now the largest cannabis company in the world. So we also, not only in purchasing this company and purchasing everything that they have in Canada, we also were able to onboard 25 to 30 years cannabis experience to our company, which again, being an Australian cannabis company, to have that sort of experience through one transaction is amazing, and they've helped us not only in the recreational side but in the medicinal side as well, which has been a great advantage to us. The estimates for the recreational side is it's probably the multitude or the multiplier of about 4 or 5 times what any medical business is or medical sort of opportunity is. So we're really bullish on this one because it is an area that's growing, and their sales in Canada for these sort of canned beverages and topicals products is growing quite rapidly. And even through the COVID period, they were considered essential, so they haven't seen really any drop off, and more products are coming to market, and obviously Peak are able to help these brands bring their products to market, in an efficient way, and we're really seeing some good results out of that. So that's currently in Canada. There are obviously a few countries who are looking at legalizing the recreational business. I mean, the US being the most obvious. Mexico is another one that started talking about it. But we really feel that long term, recreation cannabis will follow medicinal cannabis. So like places like Canada, where they started with the medical side, and then in 5-6 years after that, they have been recreational, and we really see that's how the word will flow. So Peak gives us obviously a great business in Canada as it stands right now, but it also gives us that the experience that we'll gain and have gained over the last 18 months, and we'll gain in the future to be able to roll that out into other countries, whether that be the US, Australia, Mexico, as the world sort of opens up for recreational cannabis. So if we just jump into the next slide, yeah. So again, like, why Arthea? I mean, we have a strong financial performance today. We've been, and we'll get to that in a minute. We've been around for a while. We've been able to deliver on consistent, month on month, quarter on quarter growth, and we obviously have now, with moving across Europe and into other markets, we now have a really good platform to grow and continue to grow. Again, we have an amazing management team, not only supplemented by the Peak team, which have a huge amount of cannabis experience, but we've had the same management team, the same group since we IPO'd in late 2018. So we just jump into the next one. Yeah, this is just a demonstration of, I suppose, where we currently are and the opportunity, like a few people have already spoken about today. But it just says that when we IPO'd back in September of 18, we were just in Australia, and obviously we've been able to now deliver over the last little while on the expansion of the Arthea brand across the world. And obviously this is not the end of it. Obviously we've got some more in the pipeline, and we'll continue to expand in the coming months and years. If we just keep heading on to the next slide. Yeah, this is another just demonstration of how, since we I suppose first started selling, which was in May 2018, again, it's just the consistency of Arthea being able to deliver on not only what we say, but also keeping the business moving forward. We started in Australia. Australia has been an amazing market for us, continues to be an amazing market for us, but just for the sheer size, there are 66 million people in the UK, there's 80 odd million people in Germany, France, etc. So, long-term Australia won't be the biggest part of our business, and that's key. And as the other companies have said before, it's got to keep the wheels moving, and we just feel like we've been able to deliver consistently on moving forward in the world and progressing the Arthea business. Next slide, please. Yeah, so Europe is a huge expansion area for us at the minute. Our CEO, Josh Fegan, actually relocated to London in the middle of a lockdown, which was pretty impressive on his behalf. But so he's now located out of London, and he's there to really push the Arthea business forward in Europe. And that's through our exposure to the German market through a distributor called Nimbus, of where we've got a joint venture with them. Obviously, we're involved in the French trial as well. And then obviously that's not the end. On the side there, it sort of shows you what countries have legalized cannabis, and there's still a lot of grey area in there for a lot of countries still to legalize. So we just really feel like Europe is the next wave for cannabis, and obviously we want to be front and center there. So hence our CEO being there ready to help through that process. If you can just jump into the next slide, please. Yeah, so to touch more on the financial side of the business, as you can see there on the left, so this is from our half-year results. We've been able to grow the business consistently over the last few halves there, and as you can see in the half 21, we really start to see our international businesses kick into that revenue, and we expect that to grow. And as I said before, we expect that those businesses will far outweigh our Australian business in the long term. and especially the Canadian revenue there from our recreational business. We expect that to be really significant in the not too distant future. Again, we've been able to deliver this, consistent growth over, the last couple of years, and we're very much looking forward to delivering on that as it grows, with the international part of the business being by far the biggest for us moving forward. And just on to the next slide. Yeah, this just sort of is the a bit of a snapshot of who the shareholders are. And like Peter was saying, that obviously Joshua Feig is our largest shareholder, so he has invested personally into this, and he keeps it running. We also got a really good support from the IPO onwards, and continue to have that support as we move on. That's all for me. So thank you very much for the time.
Thanks, Robert. Bang on time. A couple of questions here, just specifically in regards to the medication. So, do you see cannabis-derived medication replacing other prescribed medication for pain, for chronic pain?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of evidence about, and a lot of discussion, about the pain industry and I suppose what they've been through with some of the current medications. So we do see that pain is our biggest indication that we've been treating with our medicine. So we do see it as being a replacement for a lot of the current pain medication out there.
And when I was doing a little bit of research on this sector, I was surprised at how big the recreational market is. So when you talk cannabis, it appears to be about 67% of the total market. Can you talk a little bit more about this Canadian acquisition and the potential there? Like, where is revenue now, and how big is that market, particularly in the States and Canada, right?
Yeah, so currently the business in Canada is localized to Canada because of the way that the US hasn't really federally legalized it yet, although with Biden at the minute, that's what they're talking about. So it's a Canadian business, but the Canadian recreational business is probably one of the most developed in the world. And they went through a few stages, but they're now into the stage where it is canned beverages, edibles, topicals, and those sort of products. And they're really the ones gaining traction. They do find that they're taking a little bit of market share from alcohol companies, and that's why a lot of alcohol companies are starting to invest in cannabis. So the demand there is really strong. And as I said, the estimates, they vary depending on sort of what publication you read, but it's about 4 to 5 times any medical market is what the recreational market or addressable market is in any given country.
And you can't access those states in America where it is legalized at the moment?
No, because it's federally not legalized, you can't take anything over a border. So the US is a really complicated market at the minute, but the facility that we have is actually about 30 minutes from Detroit. So we're well positioned that, with the experience too, that if the US market ever opened up, would be in a good position to start there as well.
And for that recreational product, what sort of regulatory hurdles does that have to get through before that is allowed to go to market?
Yeah, it's considered more like a food product because they are beverages. There's a lot of companies that we've signed deals with which are already in the beverage or alcohol space. So there's still the regulation around cannabis, and it's the same for the medical side that used for the recreational side. So all the building and the facility that we have there is all regulated by the same group. So from that standpoint, you still obviously have to be 100% on that. But the products are very much food-based and the same tests that you need for all cannabis products are there. So it's reasonably well regulated, like the medicinal and medical side.
And I mean, effectively, you're running a global business here in Europe and Canada and manufacturing from Australia. How do you manage this from a cash flow perspective?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's we've taken a slow and steady approach. We haven't gone everywhere. We do have an in-field sales team in Australia and the UK, so we think they're probably the biggest markets for us. We've done a joint venture in Germany, so that's a capital light way of doing it. France again, a distributor, and a few other markets that we're going into. We just do it in a cost-effective way, so we won't be everywhere in 100%. But we'll just pick and choose the markets that have the most upside for us and go that way.
And is the plan in the future to actually manufacture offshore?
Yeah, so we currently do. So our facility in Canada can manufacture for us, and they do, and that's a really cost-effective way for us. We also have some products manufactured here locally as well. But yes, so Canada can do it right now. So we're already able to do that.